Welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making a French apple pie. Let's get started. I have all these green apples and I thought, you know what? A French apple pie I haven't made in years and we love them. It's one of my husband's favorite pies. The first thing we need to do is to make our pie crust. I normally buy mine. I love the Marie Callender's deep dish, but I don't have any and I'm not going to go to the store to buy any when I've got the items right here at home. And this apple pie is so inexpensive to make. It's just wonderful and it's so simple. So I'm going to make the crust today. We need 1 cup of sifted all-purpose flour. Simple. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Then we need 2/3 cup of chilled shortening. I use Crisco. And it's cold. I put it in the freezer. We like it cold. We want our pie crust to be cold when we make it. Just getting my fingers right in it. We're going to go ahead and kind of like crumble this up a little bit, kind of work it around just a little. Okay, and then we need 2 to 3 tablespoons of ice cold water. And you can use a food processor if you would like. I'm just going to use my hands like my grandma and my aunts. I don't even remember my mom making pie crust. But we want it good and cold. So we're going to get this in the freezer for about 10 minutes while we get our apples and everything together. It just kind of works itself. We just don't want it warm when we put it in, when we roll it out. We want it good and cold. This is perfect. I haven't made pie crust in ages. But it's so simple, and I got to thinking, I don't want to pay $3 or $4 for a cup of pie crust. It might even be more than that when I can make it right here for pennies. Pennies. I'm going to just spread it out a little bit so to get good and cold, and we're going to put it in some plastic wrap. I'm just going to put it in this little bread bag. Now I'm going to stick it in the freezer so to get good and cold. And you can double this if you like. I'm not going to because I don't know when I'll be making another pie. And I think I want to keep practicing making my pie crust because I haven't made it in such a long time. So I'm just going to make just one today. I'm just going to use the same bowl. So I am going to cut up 6 Granny Smith apples. I'm just going to cut these apples up the old-fashioned way. And if you have an apple peeler like on your KitchenAid or a Pampered Chef one, you can use that. And I guess it does take quite a while to cut up 6 apples, but I kind of want to think about some things today, so might be worth it. My friend gave me this recipe so many years ago. And I made it because it was so inexpensive all the time. Because you could just throw it together. And pie shells used to be so cheap. So I can make 2 pies and give one away or freeze it. I would kind of froze them too. Take them to a potluck. These are just great. Simple but flavorful. And I would use my best apples. And if you maybe you're just trying to get rid of some apples, make sure you cut the brown spots off if you have any. I'd like to ask you to subscribe to my channel, comment, hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. I love doing these videos. But comment down below. Tell me if you've made this pie before. Today is my son's 33rd birthday. So I thought, apple pie. I try to cut the peeling as thin as I can. Okay, one more. Okay, now I'm going to get rid of these apple peels. This is going to be my pie plate that I put my apples in. But I'm going to go ahead and chop these apples up. You want them to kind of be all the same. About that thin. Put them right back in the same bowl. I don't ever remember my mom making apple pie growing up. My husband loves apple pie. This is very simple. The most time-consuming part of this is cutting the apples, but it really gives us time for our crust to really get cold. And that's what we want. We want a great flaky pie crust. There's actually 3 parts to this pie. Apple pie, baseball, and Chevrolet. That was the commercials when I was growing up. We have our apples already sliced. They look beautiful, perfect size. They're all about the same size. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. You know cinnamon is my favorite. 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. I did use the jar, but if you have fresh, that is fine. Make sure you get the seeds out. But I am using 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Just pour that right in. We don't want our apples to turn brown. Okay, now we're just gonna kind of mix these together. You want to make sure all the apples are coated real good. Oh, this smells wonderful. Just a simple, simple dessert. We're gonna set these aside and we're gonna make our French crumb topping. Okay, we're just gonna take a glass bowl. We are going to add in 10 tablespoons of unsalted butter, just right out of the refrigerator. We are going to add 2/3 cup of packed brown sugar. Okay, some people use a pastry blender. I like to use a little chopper. It just works better to me. Get your fingers and kind of crumble it up just a little bit. Now we're going to add in 1 cup of all-purpose flour. We're just going to put it right in. Just going to kind of crumble it around. This is going to be our crumb topping for our pie. It's so simple, no lattice work, but it's so good. I made this so much when my kids were little. Now we're going to get out that pie crust. We have out our pie crust. It is good and cold, and we are going to get a little bit of flour, all-purpose flour, and we're going to roll it out. Oh yes, it's very cold. If I can make pie crust, you can make pie crust. In my time rolling this out, because I haven't done it in a long, long time, the more you make pie crust, the better you get at it. Like throwing it around here. I'm just kind of like moving it around. I'm taking my time rolling this out because I haven't done it in a long time. Now I'm going to roll it out one more time. Now this is the pie plate I am going to use. And I am going to roll my pie crust just like this. Put it right over my plate, just like this. And kind of like place it down. Never looks to me as good as the store-bought, but it tastes better. I'm just a home cook, and I love it when I accomplish new things, and especially when it tastes good. Stick it in the freezer for about 15 minutes, clean this up, and then put our pie filling in here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my stuff cleaned up. We're gonna get our pie crust out of the freezer. This is my pie crust. I'm gonna set it on a cookie sheet. We're gonna take our apple filling that we made with our cinnamon and our flour and sugar. We're gonna pour it right into our pie plate. I always take mine and kind of do a little rustic look, kind of like fold it in a little bit, give it that rustic look. I would do this. I would do the rustic look if I was doing it with the crumb topping or the lattice topping. I just think it looks pretty. See how pretty that looks? Now we're going to take our crumb topping and just start pouring it all over. Kind of pile it on. Kind of get it in the crevices of the pie. Make sure it's even on top and all the apples are covered. We are going to be putting this in a 375 degrees preheated oven for about 50 minutes, less than an hour. Oh, I forgot the cookie sheet. My house is going to smell so good. I'm so excited. It's rainy outside today. Again, we've had a lot of rain lately, and I think this apple pie is going to make it smell heavenly in here. This is the best French apple pie you will ever make for pennies. Look at that pie. This pie crust is so flaky. Look at that. It just flakes right off. Perfect. Now let's give it a try. Look at that pie. Look at that pie crust. Perfect. You gotta make this pie. It just brings back so many memories for me. For pennies, you have made an French apple pie for pennies. You'll be the star of the show.